Are your people working hard but not reaching their full potential? The problem is not effort, it is development. At the Modern Observer Group, we transform workforce development into real performance. Our human-centered achievement programs help your team think better, communicate stronger, and execute at a higher level. That means higher employee engagement, stronger leadership, and measurable results across your organization. If you want a workforce that performs, leads, and delivers, it is time to invest in your people. Visit modernobserver.com and discover how the Modern Observer Group helps you build a workforce that wins.
Russia and China reaffirm their relationship. Minnesota bans prediction markets. Google presses forward on AI and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin met in Beijing and presented their countries' relationship as a strategic partnership. The meeting followed President Donald Trump's recent visit to China. Xi and Putin held talks at the Great Hall of the People and oversaw agreements covering trade, technology, scientific research, media exchanges, and intellectual property. They also extended the China-Russia Treaty of Good Neighborliness and Friendly Cooperation. Putin touted energy sales to China, saying Russia remained a reliable energy supplier. In a jab at the United States, Xi said China and Russia opposed unilateral pressure in international affairs. More than 40 cooperation agreements were expected or signed during the visit. Russia and China also criticized U.S. missile defense plans, claiming Washington's Golden Dome proposal threatened strategic stability. The European Union has finally agreed to implement its trade deal with the U.S. after 5 hours of talks between members of the European Parliament and member states in the hope of averting more tariffs threatened by Donald Trump. It means the agreement struck last July at the U.S. President's Scottish golf course can now enter into force, removing import duties on most U.S. goods entering the EU. This means we will soon deliver on our part, said the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, welcoming the pact. Together we can ensure stable, predictable, balanced, and mutually beneficial transatlantic trade. The agreement puts the bloc on track to meet Trump's 4th of July deadline for ratification of the deal, which has already been implemented in the U.S. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has signed the nation's first law banning prediction market sites from operating in the state, and in response, the Trump administration has sued, teeing up a legal battle over the most far-reaching crackdown on popular services like Kalshi and Polymarket. It comes as states confront a growing standoff with the Trump administration over how to regulate the industry, which allows people to bet on virtually anything. The new state law makes it a crime to host or advertise a prediction market, which it defines as a system that lets consumers place a wager on a future outcome, like sports, elections, live entertainment, someone's word choice, and world affairs. U.S. senators introduced bipartisan legislation aimed at countering Chinese artificial intelligence and technology sales abroad. The bill is sponsored by Democratic Senator Jeanne Shaheen of New Hampshire and Republican Senator Pete Ricketts of Nebraska. It would create a State Department office to help allied governments buy U.S. technology and streamline procurement. The measure would also create a $500 million fund to finance purchases of American AI models, chips, software, telecom equipment, cybersecurity tools, biotechnology, cloud systems, and related technology. The legislation supports the Trump administration's Pax Silica initiative, which is aimed at reducing dependence on China and securing access to critical minerals and other AI supply chain inputs. Lawmakers said the measure is designed to give foreign governments an alternative to Chinese technology. The bill also comes after China spent a record $213 billion last year through its Belt and Road Initiative. At Google's annual developer conference yesterday, the tech giant revealed a new 24/7 personal AI assistant called Gemini Spark. Docs Live, which allows users to generate documents with their voices, a new Gemini model called Omni that has advanced video generation abilities, another new, faster Gemini model, and a new AI powered search box that the company says is the biggest change to its search function since it debuted 25 years ago. CEO Sundar Pichai also said the company's Gemini app now has 900 million monthly active users, more than double from a year ago. One of America's once dominant beer brands is being discontinued after more than 175 years. Schlitz Premium, a beer brand that traces its roots to Milwaukee in the 1840s and was once among the largest breweries in the country, is being put on hiatus. Parent company Pabst Brewing Company confirmed Friday after Wisconsin Brewing Company announced it would brew the brand's final batch later this month. Unfortunately, we have seen continued increases in our costs to store and ship certain products and have had to make the tough choice to place Schlitz Premium on hiatus, Zach Nadile, Pabst head of brand strategy, said in a statement to Milwaukee Magazine. That's the Raw Naked Truth for May 20th, 2026. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth Daily News Brief, as well as our sister podcast, Carnivore Radio, with news analysis and commentary, and the rest of the Xvadio Podcast Network at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcast app, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.